You okay?
Yeah.
All right. It's Fright Night with Ferocious B, and we're going to be talking about Sinners. It's just three of us tonight because Presto is at Monster Mania. There were a lot of guests this time around that were only Saturday and Sunday, so hopefully he got those people a while back. Megan's off doing her own thing. There are some other conventions. There's one up in New York right now this weekend, also a tattoo convention. So a lot of conventions before the holidays. Exactly right before the holidays, apparently. So we're going to be talking about Sinners, and yeah, we already got problems with this one.
What?
You have problems with it.
What?
I don't think anyone else has problems.
We already got problems with this one.
You have problems with
We.
I have problems. Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah, one of the naysayers on this film isn't even here this week, so I'm just going to go ahead and not share his rating because I don't want to take away from the chat's fun.
Uh-huh. All right. Anyway, so what are our first? Well, let's do intros first.
Yeah.
So let's go first. Not me.
Every single time. I'll go. I'll go first, real quick, because it's just gonna make you so happy, Fee. I've been just enjoying the world of video games.
Oh.
Oh yeah, yep. This is what you get. This is what you get. No, I've as Fuzzy knows very well, we ended up having a developer direct showcase thing for Xbox yesterday. And we got to see a whole bunch of cool new games that are coming out and or just released. So I've been sinking a bunch of time into a new one called Clover Pit. Is what it's called. Which is a really interesting one. It kind of feels like almost a mix of like Saw or Five Nights at Freddy mixed with Balatro. Which is a weird thing. It's literally just a gambling game on a slot machine, but there's a whole bunch of details and depth that opens up as you play that game. I've also been playing some more Hitman again because the end of the Dragon season just happened. So if you got the opportunity to play with Bruce Lee as your companion and like co-agent, trying to take down bad guys, you know that was a pretty cool experience. It was pretty fun. The voice acting was not amazing for Bruce Lee's character, but it was kind of cool, the idea that you were playing as like a secret agent or like an undercover agent with Bruce Lee in the Hitman franchise. It's kind of a fun experience. Besides that, most of the people that are here watching probably also are playing some games, and I will give you a heads up if you weren't tracking. Silent Hill 2 is now out for Xbox. They did not advertise it because Sony's a bunch of assholes and they had previous contracts or agreements set up to not allow Microsoft to advertise the release. So if you want to play some Silent Hill 2 remake, that is now available on Xbox. I just downloaded it and hopefully I'll get to play some of it this weekend. But that's about all I've been up to, except for returning to the awesome movie Sisu. I don't know if either of you have watched that one.
No.
Fuzzy, Fee, nothing.
No.
I won't go on a tangent, but it's basically a gold miner, or just like a guy that's basically trying to survive in 1944 after all of the World War II chaos and dealing with Nazis overtaking Finland. And he comes across gold and tries to bring it so he can sell it off and make a better life for himself. And all hell goes just loose on it, and
Mhm.
it turns out that he's actually like a former Spec Ops service member, and he destroys everyone in his way. So I went back and returned to that one because the sequel just released today in theaters, and I'll be seeing that tomorrow morning. It's very gory, very bloody, and
Mhm.
it's a great story. It's a great revenge story. So I'm looking forward to seeing that tomorrow.
Nice.
Okay,
All
Fuzzy.
right. Well, I've been pretty much not doing much as well, other than some video game things. For the most part, I'm still on my NASCAR kick. NASCAR 25 came out a couple of weeks ago, and I'm living the dream of being a NASCAR driver, starting in ARCA and working my way up to Cup. I've finished ARCA with the championship, halfway through the Truck Series, and kind of already got an idea for the paint schemes for my Xfinity car. I almost called it a Bush car, and then my car for later. But for the most part, playing a lot of Diablo as of late. That's, I guess you could say, the closest game to a horror game that I've been playing. Not really a horror game, but a ton of fun. And I guess crawling the dungeons of hell and stuff. I finally got a decent build, a lightning sorcerer build that I'm pretty happy with, and I can make it on to Torment 3 by myself and not really worry too much about survivability. But that tier 55 pit is a little nerve wracking. I did a 50 with only one death, so we'll see if I can handle the 55 on my own. But other than that, just playing or just watch this movie, and that's pretty much it. But I'm sure we'll get into some discussions on different points of view on this. But Fee, what have you been up to?
Yeah, side note, we are looking for panelists. The number one at the top of the list does not play video games, only into horror. Just throwing that out there for you guys.
Wow. Wow. Okay, I see it.
So I'm off for the next 9 days. No work. Well, kind of, but no school. I don't have to go in. So I did my what we call trading hours, or as you call it, flex time in non-school world. So yeah, it's about the highlight of what's been happening. I would have liked to go on to Monster Mania, but I am tired from hair teacher conferences, and yeah, it just really didn't line up the way I would have liked it to line up, to have the energy to go. So, but those that did, have fun. I can't get Fuzzy to go to a tattoo convention, let alone one in New York. That ain't happening. So I'm in for this weekend. But we are here today talking about Sinners. Yeah, Fuzzy made me watch this.
Oh, I made you watch.
Yes, he made me watch it. Well, it was either this or Woman in the Yard, and we wanted to torture, Matt with that one. So
Yeah, no, we keep that for him.
yeah.
I want to see him struggle with that one.
Yeah, it's gonna be his Christmas gift. Okay. All right, you guys can talk about first impressions.
Oh man, first impressions going into this, I feel like and maybe you guys will end up being the same way with this, but I feel like the trailer for this, just like last week's, threw me off the scent to an extent of like what we were actually dealing with, what was going to happen in this film. For anyone who's actually seen this one in chat, you'll know it's definitely got like a bit of a build up before we actually get to everything that really happens in it.
A bit.
A bit. Don't quit. Oh my God. Here we go. Here we go already. This is it. This is why I'm just gonna go ahead and ignore the stuff that Presto said I could share for him on his behalf. Because I feel like the two of you are both just like perfectly aligned on your hate for this, and it makes me very sad. But yeah, like there's a bit of a build-up, and I enjoyed it because incidentally, it did character building, which a lot of the films we watch sometimes don't tend to have. Usually it's like, hey, there's a character, and well, you don't really care about him, so we're just gonna kill him off.
Okay, what movie did you watch?
Without character building, there was Dead and Breakfast. There was.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I don't think we watched the same movie this time around. Was there another Sinners? And
No.
we just watched the wrong one?
Did you watch the one from the 90s?
I don't know. Did we?
No, we watched the one that came out last year or this summer or whatever, but there was character building. You even noticed, like with the one family where the daughter was working behind the register, the wife was at the store across the street, and the husband was, with the daughter on the other side of the street.
Yeah, Madam and Mr. Chow.
That was character building.
Well, it gave, other than giving you a full-on background of the Stack brothers before, they left for Chicago or whatever, it gave you enough hints, like the people that they know, the people that they ran with or hung out with and did business with. They gave like a brief summary without going into flashbacks, which I liked.
Yeah. And they introduce characters like it may not be the most in-depth character building in the world for some of the characters. Like even Judah Roars in the chat makes the comment of like, there was character building for the brothers, which yes, very, very accurate. But they leaned into some of the characters besides the brothers and kind of fleshed out some of that situation. Did they go like full bore? No, they probably could have, instead of some of the liberties that they took with like driving around the plantations and stuff like that. But I feel like they made kind of an artistic choice. Like this movie is probably one of the best looking movies, I would argue, of the year, as far as like you see this movie on a good screen at a theater or on a 4K TV, and you watch when they're roaming through and doing like the whole like first hour or so of the movie, and it is stunning. They do a really good job at kind of laying it out. Apparently not enough character building for Fuzzy. Sorry about that.
Hey, I'm wondering where the scenery was too.
What?
I don't think we watched the same movie.
Whatever. So anyways, initial impressions for me was that I wasn't expecting what we ended up getting. When I actually got to the movie and saw it, there was stuff from the trailer that was in it, but I feel like they threw my expectations kind of out the window, and I was pleasantly surprised with what I received. But it's one of those things where like we know that these two have been working together quite a bit. They've done multiple movies together now. Michael B. Jordan, and I'm forgetting the director's name at the moment for some reason.
Coogler or something like that.
Yeah, that's right, Ryan Coogler. They've done a handful of things together now. They did they ended up doing the Rocky,
the Rocky,
the Rocky movies. So it's like pretty much everywhere that Coogler has gone recently, Michael B. Jordan has been there as well. But it's worked out. I feel like they work well together, and I feel like they understand what each other are trying to achieve in the movies. Fuzzy, what do you think?
My first impressions were, before listening to some of the noise in the background, as far as there were a mixed bag of people, where some were like, "Oh, it's the greatest thing," and others were like, "Oh, it's overrated. It's kind of like a remake of Until Dawn or something along those lines." And I just basically wanted to see how they handle the vampire movie, because I'll be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of vampire movies, with the exception of, what was it, 28 days later, or not 28 days later. It was like 28 days and nights or something, I think. There was like
30,
the one in
30 Days of Night.
30 days and night, like
Yeah.
the one in
Yeah.
Alaska.
Yeah.
That's probably my favorite vampire one. And then the other one where what's his name flew out the window of a car, and that cured him of being able to walk in the daylight. I forget the
Daybreakers.
name. Yeah, those two are probably ones that I like. And then I don't really, I guess it's a vampire movie with the lichen and stuff like that. That's another one. But outside of that, a lot of the other ones, like, don't ask me to watch. What's the one
Twilight.
with all the teeny Twilight? Like, yeah,
Uh-huh.
I've seen bits and pieces of it because my wife loves to watch it. I
Ugh.
can't stand it. It's like,
What?
it's
That
corny.
explains why she doesn't like this, because this one's actually
No, because I like Daybreakers, and I also like the other two movies
yeah,
that
but
he
you
talked
like
about.
Twilight.
Yeah, but like for me, I wanted to go into this like with no prior expectations. I know that some people liked it, some people didn't, but the first impressions, seeing stuff from the trailer, and then some of the stuff, it definitely takes much later into the movie before you get to see some of those highlights from the trailers and stuff like that. But I like the overall setting. And yes, please understand, like, yes, I am 50 years old, but my parents were born in the
We don't
year,
discuss
or
age
like,
on here. We don't discuss age on here. Why would
well,
you?
I'll discuss my age. You don't have to discuss your age. My age is 50, and my
He's
parents were
lying.
born the year after what this setting was. So, the Great Depression era, like, I think this is set in 32. My parents were born in 33. This should give you an idea of, like, my upbringing would be more so from like the children from this era kind of thing. The children from this era would have been like my parents, like, not thought process, but that type of scenario. Like, my parents growing up in the Depression, they were always ones to kind of like stockpile certain groceries and things. It's like, oh, we have 3 cans of corn, or canned corn. It's like, as soon as you get down to one, you gotta buy at least 2 more to but all of that stuff to say, I like the overall setting, to get like a peek into that, and knowing some family members from that era outside of my parents. It was definitely an interesting time, especially, although my family only goes as far south as Virginia. There were parts that married into the family later that went as far as Alabama, and I know Mississippi is a whole nother beast as far as how people of color were treated. So seeing how all that was handled was very, very interesting. But I like the setting, even though it's not the greatest setting for people like me. But how they handled it without being, overtly like, oh, I mean, yes, you saw the chain gang and stuff like that, as far as people working on the side of the road and stuff like that. But yeah, I like the visuals. I like the characters. I like the slow buildup. Yes, it's a long movie, but it held my attention. But we'll get more into that as we go. But I just like the overall setting, like how they portrayed that era for these characters. And I'll leave my first impressions at that.
Y'all talking up this movie like it's the greatest thing in the world. So I'm just gonna let you know. So this director, Ryan Coogler, If you're not sure how many times Michael B. Jordan's been in his movies, well, let's see: Creed, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, Black
Revelation.
Panther, Sinners. He's probably got a whole bunch more that Michael B. Jordan's been in his movies.
They've got a bromance.
Yeah, they got a romance going on. So
Yeah.
You
should be used to bromances. You watch Twilight.
Yeah.
I don't know. I should be used to bromances because all y'all seem to have a bromance with my husband. So
only difference is Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan don't glitter and glimmer and shine in the sun. Like your favorite vampires.
Apparently, Fuzzy doesn't unless y'all drag him to a strip club. So.
Oh shit! Oh man, challenge accepted. All right. Well, now I know what our first thing is to do when we end up going to LA for an E3 or whatever they call it now. We're bringing you to a strip club. Can't wait to see you turn into a shimmering person. Great.
We're not going to do stories tonight. No stories.
Oh shit. Okay.
Anyway,
the plot thickens.
So anyway, like I said, I don't know what movie y'all seen, but this movie was like a whole bunch of clips from other movies that I've watched.
Jesus.
That they tried to recreate, but I'm like, yeah, that was a miss. That was a miss. That was a miss. So yeah, you're talking about the plantations. I have seen across the board better renditions of plantations. Now, did I like some of the characters in here because I've seen them in other things and they were good in other things just as they were in this one? Well, yeah. But it wasn't enough for me to be like, oh, I want to watch this again. I think it was very long and drawn out for absolutely no reason. When I look at character development, I want to be able to feel something for the character when something happens to the character. And I felt nothing. Nothing for these characters whatsoever. There was no sad point for me because it was all predictable. Okay? But remember, I have seen literally thousands of movies, including thousands of horror movies. But I'm going to tell you, 1408, Silent Hill, you want to talk about visual award-winning or should have been award-winning movies. Silent Hill, for one thing. Nobody can argue. I'm not talking about Silent Hill 2. Silent Hill. That was visually stunning.
As someone that's in Pennsylvania, I disagree, but okay.
Really those
yes,
apparently
because some of it is based on a location here in PA, so it's nothing spectacular about seeing what you can look out the window and see.
I'm not talking about the location.
Are you talking about the creatures?
Yes, I'm talking about the creatures in the environments that they place them in. I know they were fictitious environments, but it did not give me that impression while I was watching this movie.
But like the nurses, you haven't seen those in other movies like Resident Evil. The people with stuff on their head, you haven't seen them in other horror movies like Resident Evil, right?
Not the way the nurses were done. Not the way the nurses were done. The nurses
you haven't seen any other movie have nurses twitching around and like their heads on the wrong, facing the wrong way on their body.
The way they did in Silent Hill. No, I'm sorry, that was superior. They did a lot of special effects in that movie, and some of that CGI was really, really good too. You go in Resident Evil, the movies you're talking about were all CGI.
No, see,
Yeah.
here's the difference. I guess also playing video games when something mimics a video game.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
doesn't
I'm
come
not
across-
looking at video games here.
But
You know.
that's what it's. Never mind.
Uh,
All right, so let's talk about the imagery in, I don't know, Color Purple.
Why?
Hands down better than this one.
It's a totally different emotional movie.
I
So
understand
I would
that.
suggest, so you
Capturing-
don't cross a
capturing different things.
line, you drop that one from the conversation.
No, you can't drop it. Not when you're talking about
Yeah, you can, because is it a horror movie?
It doesn't matter if it's horror or not. If you're talking about a plantation, it doesn't matter if it's a horror movie or not. If you're looking at the way that they place that camera where you can see the sun and you can see the land, it doesn't matter if it's a horror movie or not. If that's what you
Moving
guys
that
are talking
goalpost.
about. We ain't
Moving that
talking about,
goalpost.
the biting of the necks or anything. Which, yeah, let's look at that special effects. Come on now. I've seen bloodier
And
than
this
that.
is from a person that claims they don't like CGI but likes Twilight. Okay.
Okay, first of all, I like Twilight for the story. I didn't say I liked it for the visual.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay.
So the story that's a teeny bopper story, you as an adult like that. Okay.
Fine. And there are other people that like Twilight. It made a lot of
Yes, and they're teeny boppers or wannabe teeny boppers. So,
No, that's not true.
oh my God, it
There
is
are a lot of
true.
women out there.
Yes, that are sad that they're grown women now.
Uh-huh.
That's
What you
what that
trying to
movie
say now?
it was for 16 to 18-year-old girls that
Yep.
are still into those types of books and hopes and dreams for a prom date or whatever. If you're a woman that likes that movie, obviously something in that time period for you is missing, and that's why you like that movie.
And that's
I can see it as a guy that is all that movie is. It's the romance of high school. It's a high school romance.
I never
And
called
like
it
I
a
said, an
vampire
adult
movie.
that likes that high school romance obviously didn't have that romance in high school.
And that's fine, but I never called it a vampire movie either. It's not a
I'm
horror
glad that you
movie.
I'm glad that you
It's
never called it a
horror
vampire
movie.
movie.
It's
And
not
it's not
really
a horror movie either.
It's,
It's fantasy. Right?
It's
So like some wild video
terrible.
games.
it's terrible. It's a
Yes, some
movie.
wild video games.
Twilight
Oh,
is not about video games. And even if
Yeah.
it was about video games, it would probably be the lowest video game ever.
Fee, we'll just put this out there, and I think the chat
Mhm.
can probably agree with me and Fuzzy on this. There was not a Twilight video game that was made because Twilight is not popular enough to make a video game for.
No, I don't think that's true. I think Twilight is not the right storyline for a video game.
No, it's
Mm.
absolutely ripe for
No,
a
it
video
isn't.
game. There's anime video games all over the place. This
No,
is a
I-
fantasy thing for tweens.
No,
Mhm.
I do not think it would have been a good video game at all. I certainly, if I was,
If it's not a good video game, it's probably not a good movie either. But okay.
It's true. That's true.
It is not true. It is not true.
One only has to look at the history of releases to know that's actually
No.
that's
No, there are plenty of video games out there that you didn't like. But how many movies have turned into video games compared to video games turning into movies?
I would say in the 80s, more movies turned into video games and flopped. With
Yeah.
the exception of things that were other forms of
here.
media before movies. So comic
Like what?
books is a totally different genre where comic book stuff that became movies and then became video games.
But we're not
Have-
talking about comic books. Let's
Okay.
stick to movies.
So
Strictly
if you're
comic books.
if you're straying away from graphic novels or comic books,
Yep.
80s was about the only real era where movies became video games. And
Okay, so
in
name
most
one.
cases, they
there was-
flopped because they were quick cash
I'm
grabs.
just
Yep.
asking
There-
y'all to name one.
There was
Nick-
literally a video game made for like every movie that came out at the time.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me which one, because I didn't play video games. So
E.T. is a perfect
for
example.
Yeah.
who?
If we're not going to do superhero,
Wait,
like I won't
we're
mention
talking-
Superman or
guys,
Batman or
wait,
Spider-Man or
wait.
anything, but
Wait,
Fee.
I can't hear either one of you because
Okay.
you're talking at the same time.
E.T., Super
I could've
Mario
told
Brothers.
you.
Those are two right off the bat.
E.T. and what?
Super Mario Brothers.
Okay, first of all, wait a minute. Super Mario Brothers was a movie after it was already
a game.
a game. So I'm
Yeah.
talking about a movie that became a game, and E.T.'s a perfect one. But I could have told you E.T. would have been a bad idea as a video game.
Oh,
No,
yeah,
because they rushed it. If they had taken the time
Nah.
and made it or started it 4 years prior to the movie, it would have probably been less of a cash grab. It just somebody threw it together in what, 8 months or less.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I'm sure
and video games back then took 2 years. Somebody threw it together in 8 months, and it was just basically ET walking from screen to screen, and it really wasn't anything to it. Now, if you want to talk about another movie that became a video game, and I just had it on the tip of my tongue, and I can't. What the heck was it? I think there was a Goonies game, but the main one. Now this was 90s, if I'm not mistaken. Lion King, which Lion King was a hard video game.
Aladdin
when it came out, it was
okay.
It was a good one, but it was difficult, like unbelievably difficult.
Okay, let's talk about this. Aladdin and the other one. Okay, what is the whole premise for the video game? It makes no sense to make a video game of those movies. Now, somebody just said RoboCop and Rambo. That right there, I can understand a video game being made as a cash grab after the movie was made. I can understand those.
Actually, the RoboCop game is better or as good, if not better, than the movie. Because they actually use the source material. So that one is an exception.
Was a good idea.
There was a Rambo game way back when the movie first came out. That one was a cash grab. So, like I said, if it was prior to 2000, although there were some after 2000 that were just as terrible as the earlier ones.
Wait, here's my question here. Before the 2000s, in the 80s and the 90s, or even in the 70s and stuff like that, when they first came out with Pong or whatever, the idea originally for video games was not the way it is today. Not a lot of them had storylines. Am I right? Like most of them didn't have storylines. They had obstacles that you had to get over, right?
What?
It depends. Because, like, okay, for a perfect example of one with a storyline, even though it doesn't look like it has a storyline, but it is you rescuing the princess as any of the Mario games. When it comes to, what was it, Dragon's Lair, which looked like a animated cartoon, that had a story to it. Now, be it that it was short for a game, but it was difficult and it was an arcade game.
And I'm still going to argue with y'all that most of them, okay, fine, they had the characters talking back and forth, and you couldn't control that. That was just kind of like spacing in between what you had to do. But in actuality, you had either fighting games, or you had obstacle games, or you had choice.
Tell me you don't pay attention to video games without telling me you don't pay attention to video games.
I'm just talking about the 80s and 90s.
Okay, so Oregon Trail. Do you remember Oregon Trail when you would have to sneak into the computer
Oregon
lab?
Trail was supposed to be a historical accurate kind of video game to learn something. It was not meant to be a video game for fun.
It was really meant for a historical reference, but okay.
Boy, yeah. Everyone died of dysentery in the 1900s, Fuzzy.
Pretty much.
Nope. Oh my good lord.
I'm just saying that the idea of making a movie and then making a video game is, in all honesty, you might have a 5% chance that the video game has any legitimacy. Okay, most of them suck.
Mm,
Most of them
boy.
suck,
Oh
Okay.
boy.
especially prior to the 2000s.
It's coming from someone who doesn't like video games.
yeah,
I didn't say I didn't
like
like video games.
there's
I just don't like
there's
Oh,
video games
you
that
guys like.
are
well, many
there are
times.
some that may have not have done as well. Like Mad Max is a perfect example. Mad Max wasn't.
That was after
uh,
2000.
Yes, it was after 2000. Are we only focusing on prior to 2000?
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
But I'm going
Oh, I
to
thought
say
that's
I'm going to say this. Video games that have action in them, regardless of whether the movie came out first or the video came out first, or strategy games are about the only two that if the movie came out first that they would have any success. Anything else is anything with like a storyline with choice or whatever is not going to, especially if it's a drama. If the movie's a drama, it's not going to be a good video game. So that's why Twilight wouldn't have been a good video game to begin with. Even if people
No,
Well,
no,
no. I
no.
would argue Twilight's barely a good movie in
Yeah.
I
general.
never
So
said good
to
movie.
try
I said
and make a good
movie before
to try
video
and
game.
to
Yeah,
try and make a good video game off of a barely good movie is really difficult in general.
Yeah.
Well, according to Fuzzy, any of the Resident Evil movies or any games based off of the timeline of the Resident Evil movies is a bad idea too.
The games, I've said the games have always been better than the movies. Sure, they're popcorn action goodness in the sense that, oh, I want to turn my brain off and just watch stuff be either beaten up or killed or shot or whatever. No problem. But as a movie in general, compared to the games, they were terrible. But that's my opinion. I
Mhm.
prefer the games, and some of them I didn't even like, but we're not going to narrow down which of the Resident Evils I didn't really care for, but the movies were
Except
less
the last one.
less of an interesting story than the
We like the
games,
last one.
and with that, they were just popcorn fodder. Is about the best way to put it. As far as
I'm
the
just saying,
movies,
you like the one that just came out, the one Raccoon City.
yeah, because that's
The
the
only one you
closest to the
like.
game.
Mm-hmm. So that's my point. My point is, you guys just want to see the playing of the game without having to play the game sometimes. That's
No,
why
no, no,
It
that-
makes sense
Go
that
on.
it's a town where some scientific experiment goes wrong in an actual town, as opposed to like, oh, we have this mansion and we have this woman drugged and whatnot and trapped in this. No, that's foolishness. That's
And
like
that's fine. But what I'm saying is that this is why Until Dawn didn't do as well either, because a lot of people were upset because
it
it
didn't
wasn't
follow.
closer to the video game.
I mean, it wasn't a bad story. It just wasn't as good of a story as the game. I'll leave it at that.
Whatever.
I just want to highlight
Mhm.
Punty in the chat made the comment and said one of the days this week was Men's Mental Health Day. So check up on your mental health. I feel like Fee trying to do this mental gymnastics to get the win in this conversation is hurting my mental health. Because I feel like
I see who's not on my side.
anything that we say, she's like, yeah, exactly. That's my point. Like,
I think she's just arguing about video games to not talk about Sinners. I think she's stalling or delaying or
avoiding.
as you
But
No.
one other thing I will say with it though is like, if you want to narrow it down to someone who wants to watch video games be played instead of playing video games, that's Sony fanboys. That's not us. Don't lump us in with those suckers.
First of all, okay, I don't particularly like when
video games. I know.
I don't particularly like when they go and make a game and then they want to turn that into a movie. I don't particularly like it because then I got to hear Fuzzy talk about, oh, that wasn't in the video game. That wasn't in the video game.
No,
That
I
wasn't in the
don't.
video
I
game.
don't really do that much. Like I think
You
at
used
most I
to.
may have. Well, there wasn't really any games that I did that for other than Resident Evil because I kept on telling you, I'm like, if you like these movies, you should actually play the game.
No.
Because you will see what I'm talking about the game actually being better than the movies.
No.
But that's all I was really doing. But like a good example of one where I didn't say, "Oh, that wasn't in the game," or "That's a little different," was The Last of Us. Yes, it's not a movie; it's a series, but compared to what the game has, there are some slight differences for it. But overall, they stuck to the source material a lot better than most. What do you call it? Fallout. That's another one where even though it doesn't tell the story of anything that happened in the video games, it feels like it's in the same universe or in the same world. So you could almost see like, oh, this is a different part in the same time period or a later time period. I think it is a later time period than some of the Fallout games themselves.
Now, I will agree. I mean, I didn't play Fallout or anything. I used to watch you play Fallout and stuff. But I agree that before I stopped watching it, that it was the TV series was pretty good. But the visuals in Fallout, the show or whatever, were way better than Sinners. I'll tell you that much.
Oh my goodness.
Way better.
Anyway.
Jesus
Come on, you got to admit that.
It's two different time periods. You're talking about a different, like a almost retro future, or like imagine America in the 50s if we went full on nuclear as far as power sources and forgot about gas powered stuff and things like that. That's what Fallout is. So it's like a timeline split from the 50s kind of thing. But when you're looking at something like Sinners, they're trying to keep it where, other than the part when the guy is playing the guitar, they're trying to keep it as a time period piece in the 30s. Like, if, without sounding, I guess, condescending, have you ever been to the South? Like, other than going to Florida, which Florida doesn't really count for this, but have you been to Mississippi or Alabama or the rural parts of Georgia? Like,
yeah, the rural parts of Georgia I have.
When?
With my mom.
When?
So before I met you, my mom lived down there for longer than you think before I met you. She didn't just move down there. She originally
she lived in the rural, not in Atlanta the entire time?
No, she didn't live in Atlanta. She lived in Savannah and she lived in other parts down there. I just can't remember. I just remember Savannah.
Okay.
But she also lived outside of Jacksonville before too. Remember, when you first
Jacksonville's a little different than what you would see in Mississippi and what you will see in
I know, but I'm just saying, when my mom would go live down in another state, she went and lived out in Texas. When she would go and live in a new state or whatever, she would go to the outskirts where rent was cheaper because she has to establish herself and get a job and everything. You know my mom, she goes down to a state. She would go down to a state before she had a job. So it's like, oh, I got to hurry up and get a job. So she's going down there with the little bit of money that she has. Okay, that's how my mom was.
Okay,
but yeah, she originally started living in Savannah, and then she lived somewhere else, and then she slowly went and moved into Midtown Atlanta. I think it took her about maybe a little less than 2 years to get it in Midtown Atlanta, and she was driving back and forth to her job, which was in Atlanta. And the same thing when she lived down in Jacksonville. She was driving sometimes 3 hours just to get to a job. Because Jacksonville is smaller than Miami and other places. So yeah, that's just how my mom was. But what I'm saying is that I've seen rural areas before in various states, not just Jersey and Delaware and PA. And we've been all over PA.
Yeah.
And
But
upstate PA is so much different from down here where we actually live.
Yeah, but even that's way different than Mississippi. That's way different.
I'm not saying
way different than Alabama. So it's if you're going for accuracy of the time period and the look, they did well. I'll leave it at that. It's not that it's supposedly spectacular, but I'm saying as someone that's seen family that's in areas that still look like that.
Yeah.
It was accurate.
And I'm not disagreeing with you. What I'm saying is that compared to other movies, this was not outstanding backgrounds. I don't want to give that impression. You guys, maybe it is, but I'm telling you, in all the movies I've seen, whether it's horror or non-horror, I've seen better sets.
I mean, to be fair, Fee, like, obviously this movie didn't have the budget of something like Dead and Breakfast or The Underground or some of the other movies we've watched. So, I mean, it makes sense that it's not as good of a movie, clearly. Jesus Christ. Oh, man, if I had hair, I would pull it out. The conversation between the two of you, I think probably raised my blood pressure by 5 points in the last 5 minutes.
So I'm just gonna let everybody know, if you guys can't tell we're married, you just learned right now, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
You just
we can definitely tell. Why do you think it got so quiet? We're all like, oh, mom and dad are fighting, and this is weird. I was just like, I'm just gonna go ahead and look at my emails real quick and see if I have anything I need to do. Whew, boy. But you know, Fee, I applaud your effort at trying to dunk on something that you don't like because we don't like Twilight. I get it.
It's not because we don't like Twilight.
Oh,
I would still not like this movie.
It's kind of what it feels. It's kind of what it feels like.
No.
And
No,
Bed and Breakfast. We kind of dunked on that a little bit. So this is payback.
Yep. No, this is revenge. I'm just glad that Matt's not here because I was afraid that I was going to discover that he was like a closet Twilight fanatic. Because again, I feel like you, Fee, and Matt are like peas in a pod as far as your guys's thought process on this movie. And it shocks me because I don't feel like it's very often that you guys agree on something. But this movie you guys do, and it scares the shit out of me, to be honest. Because I feel like we're like in end times or something. Like I feel like when these type of things happen, you know, it's a signal. So.
It's a signal. I'm just saying, this is kind of like a chopped up kind of version of things that I've seen. I mean, I could literally, for each scene, find 2 or 3 movies that have the same thing.
Yeah, but you could say the same thing about almost everything we've watched in the last 30 years.
Yeah.
Not necessarily.
You could say that about almost every scene in Dead and Breakfast. You could say that about almost every scene in like almost every movie that we enjoy for the last 30 years.
I wouldn't say that. There are some.
So what's the most original film you've watched recently?
Recently?
That's a recent movie. What's your most original recent film?
Yeah, I can't really say
because everything's been done over and over and over again.
No, I mean there are some. I mean, okay, let's look at Substance. We did Substance, right? We did the Substance.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of uniqueness in that movie. Am I right?
A younger self, no. A younger self, know how it came about. I don't recall all the other ones where you have like a younger self or a split of yourself doing it that way. There have been others that have used a husk kind of thing, but nothing that split like that. But then the
That's
tail
what I'm
end of
talking
it, that's unique in the sense of it completely went left field. Like it went from being what felt like a serious movie to being a comedy at the end, or at least to me it did. But just the drug kit type of thing. There have been other movies where you go to a mailbox to get stuff as far as your medicine or vitamins, but
Yeah.
the split coming out of the same body for
Yeah.
that type of movie, different, but not unique because
I
Body
think it was
Snatchers
unique.
and other things have
No,
done
Body
similar.
Snatchers. No, Body Snatchers was not the same thing. Body Snatchers and the
No,
Blob and all that was
But
not the same as this, as the
But here's
substance.
the thing: is like it doesn't have to be the exact same thing for it to have taken a lot of like it's taking a creative
Mhm.
jump off of that same idea.
And
Mhm.
I'm
It's saying
fine with
like, okay, well, we got this, but we're just going to modify it a little bit. Like that's what we've gotten for the last 30 years.
and you know that's in some cases the most we're gonna get, but it's still more unique than this, than
Oh,
Sinner.
sweet jumping Jiminy Christmas.
Okay.
Oh,
Hey, you
I
just
did
told me to tell
not.
you one movie.
I did not pour enough wine before.
Well, Judah says Looper. How about that one?
Yeah, I mean, Looper was something we hadn't necessarily seen directly, but again, I would say the same thing as with Substance is like there are other movies that had a core idea that was very much similar, and they went a different direction with it. But you're still finding a lot of the stuff that has very similar DNA, and they're just modifying certain things to make it seem different. It's not from the ground up like different than anything else that's available out there. There's usually something you can refer to. It's just like when we were talking when we were introing at the beginning of the show, and I mentioned the fact that one of the games that I'm playing right now it's like a couple games mashed together. It's because people use those same ideas and recycle them, but then add extra little twists to make them a little different, even though they have very similar DNA to start off with.
And I agree with you. And I'm cool with that. For example, and I don't care if anybody likes Justin Timberlake or whatever, but In Time, okay? If anybody's watched that one, I know it's not a horror, but In Time was that type of movie, but there were good visuals in there. It was a good storyline. It made sense. It wasn't that it was totally unique because there were movies before that had similar presence to it, but it was still unique. It was still something that I have not seen over and over again. Okay, but I'm just saying, I'm wondering where these little unique things that you're talking about were in Sinners. I'm just saying.
I can ask the same thing to I can ask the same thing to In Time because you literally just proved the point. It's like
Okay, tell
yeah,
me
it's a movie
what other movie. Tell me what other movie had that way of talking about immortality.
What's the one where they killed the old folks?
What one
oh
was
shit.
that?
Do you remember the director? I vaguely remember what you're talking about.
Wait a minute. They killed the old people?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
I'm trying to remember because I don't consider In Time an original. Like there's been other movies that have had something similar as far as that with the uber rich living beyond a certain period.
I feel like there was
can't
another
remember
movie
the
that
name
came
of it
out
right
that
now.
same year, actually, like the same year as In Time, or within like a year or two, that was kind of similar style as well.
Yeah.
Like
So
just
you're saying
before it.
movie that killed What I mean,
Let's see.
why were they killing the old people?
Because it was a way to trade that immortality. I'm trying to see.
Are you talking about the island?
I can't remember. Like I said, most
Where they had
movies.
clones?
But here's the problem. Most movies for me are not memorable enough, other than like because there isn't really a uniqueness in movies these days. Like for me, the key thing becomes the characters and the lines that I can quote or things that mirror or mimic things that I've experienced. So an example movie would be Full Metal Jacket. I love being former military. There's a lot of things that I like about that movie. Some things I've mimicked from that movie, and some things that I've seen similar but not as far reaching things during basic. So I had a couple people go crazy during basic. I had the opportunity to be kind of like a drill sergeant. My dad was a drill sergeant, so there's parts of that, but I kind of acted as a drill sergeant at one of the military academies for the plebes for the following class year. So a lot of stuff resonates with me for that movie and the characters and how they played some of that stuff. And having a dad that served in both Vietnam and Korea, that's a memorable movie. There are some other military ones, but that one for me stands out more than a lot of the others. I do like Saving Private Ryan to some extent, mostly probably because I was at the time becoming an officer in the military. So it has its resonance in that regard. But other than that, there aren't many other military movies that stand out. There are some ones that are probably more Academy Award winning or nominated more for other Emmys and things along those lines, but that one stands out. And then there's other movies like Dawn of the Dead, the actual remake one, not the original. That stands out because I've always wondered, even before that movie came out, if there was a zombie apocalypse, does it make sense to, go to a mall or go to a grocery store or go to a warehouse? Originally, I thought a mall, and then I thought better of it. The warehouse would be a more securable and less likely targeted thing. So there's various other movies that I've seen that are a lot less memorable, like the Tom Cruise movie where it was like Groundhog Day.
Oh man,
Yeah,
I like that movie, but like
they're trying to get
first,
they're trying to get a remake, not a remake, but a second part to that.
two, yeah.
Oh,
like
hell.
I like the concept of it, but it's Groundhog's Day in the future with aliens kind of thing, and that's cool, but it's kind of been done. It's just that they put a little bit of a spin on it, and that's essentially what movies are these days. It's a previous idea that people put a spin on, and the big thing for this spin, as far as what I see compared to other vampire movies and such, is that it's focusing from a certain viewpoint from that time period that you don't typically get to see in a vampire movie. So if you're as a person of color, if you're going to take a period of time and throw vampires in it, that's what you got with this. Is it an original concept or idea? I guess not, but for me, I like that concept.
Interview with a Vampire, the remake that they did. Did you ever watch that?
No, because I didn't watch the original one because Tom Cruise was in it, and I was like, no, thank you.
So Tom Cruise is, of course, not in this one, but
I know. That's why I didn't watch the original. So if I'm not going to watch the original, I'm probably not going to watch a remake because it wasn't on the radar.
Anyway, I'm just saying, if you had watched that, you would have seen a little bit more cultural perspective of the time rather than the original movie. So sometimes the remakes are better. Okay. But the thing is, let's talk about Get Out. Let's talk about Skeleton Key. Let's talk about Jacob's Ladder. Okay. Oh, and by the way, that was The Edge of Tomorrow with the one with Tom Cruise in it.
Yeah.
But there are
No,
other
no,
movies
that's
that
from Judah Roars in the chat. This wasn't stuff that Feed just pulled out of nowhere.
no, I'm not. I'm literally putting on the screen, Mr.
Critic.
Cypher. Okay, I'm not. I'm literally putting on the screen, guys.
I just want to make sure in case anyone's listening, they
No.
understand that this wasn't just like a stream of consciousness from Fee, like frying us over something.
I see
Yeah,
how it is.
yeah.
I see how it is.
I want to
Anyway.
make sure credit goes where it's due.
Anyway, what I'm saying is that there are tons of movies that, yes, they have a jumping off point, but sometimes you can't tell that there was a jumping off point. There's a lot of them that have a tiny jumping off point, but most of it is original. This wasn't it. Okay. And let's talk about y'all sat there. I believe y'all sat there and you watched Salem's Lot, right? With me? And we watched the original and then we watched the remake, right? Okay. And you all said that you fell asleep and that thing was just as long as this thing.
No, that's the difference is like you're going to find things occasionally that are going to pique your interest. It's the same reason why I can't handle watching. It's the same reason why I can't handle watching the Lord of the Rings movies just straight through, or why I will not watch the director's cuts ever, is because like, yeah, it's a somewhat interesting story to an extent, but it's never been my thing. And every time I watch it, I'm just like, Jesus Christ, this movie's like 10 days long. And I'm sure that's probably what this was to you. Like everyone's got a preference. Obviously, this is not your preference. I can tell this is not going to get.
I like vampire movies. I love vampire movies more than.
But I'm saying, like, obviously, this one didn't cut the muster.
It didn't resonate with you.
So like 2+ hours didn't really go for you.
Look, which
is cool.
3 hours. I can sit through a 3-hour movie.
Okay.
I mean, it all depends on one's attention and what their interests are. Like Cypher's saying, like not every 3-hour movie is going to be interesting to everyone, but there are going to be people that find one particular 3-hour movie more interesting than another. Like I said earlier, for me, this movie spoke to me as someone whose parents grew up in the 30s. I have family history that mimics some of this stuff, so it's like, okay,
I like it for that reason, but I'm just letting people know I wouldn't recommend it based on that.
I put it this way: if you have any interest in the Southern perspective from a person of color during that period, and have vampires mixed in, this might be at least worth one watch. I'll leave it at that. Like that's, for me, that's enough because that appeals to me. That's not going to appeal to everyone. There's some people that could be of color that see that and be like, I'm going to be pissed off because there is a reference to the KKK. There is, other, some Jim Crow references and things like that. So
not as many as in other movies I've ever seen.
Oh no, there's definitely not as many
mainstream ones.
Yeah, no. And that's the thing. It wasn't overtly infuriating, intentionally infuriating in that regard, like some other movies tend to be, to show you distinctly how bad those times were for certain individuals. But overall, they told a story without teaching a story or making you feel like you're actually in that time and suffering from some of the issues of that time, kind of thing. For me, it was enjoyable. I understand it wasn't enjoyable for you, and that's quite all right.
Yeah, like it wasn't going out of its way to try and be historically accurate or anything.
And I'm not saying that it
Um,
was.
but it's literally focusing on characters that a director put into a film and built a story around, and this is their story, and this is the atmosphere in which their story unfolds. And yeah, like obviously it resonates for some people, doesn't resonate for others. Just like I would mention some of the other movies we talked about earlier, some of the ones I keep bringing up to drag into the mud, like Bed and Breakfast, is obviously not everyone's film, and that's fine. You know, is like that's I think that's the benefit of a show like this is like the majority of the time we're rarely all in agreement. There's usually at least one outlier. It's you this time. just in case.
Look, I'm just letting you know, okay? If you like vampire movies, this is probably not your vampire movie.
I love vampire movies, and this was great.
Okay,
but
fine.
again,
The vampire aspect is limited in the first hour, but it makes sense. And then I kind of wish the people that were hunting that original vampire would have had a little bit more of their story or integrated into the story a bit more. But the vampire aspect, when it's 1 hour left in the movie, definitely picks up. And it picks up in a kind of funny, unique way to some extent. So
I wouldn't say it was funny at all.
Sweet.
Oh! So people just randomly walking up singing because, all right, you have a juke
I think
joint.
it's funny.
I think that's funny because it's like, look at the times, look at the people that are walking up.
Yeah,
and they're talking about, yeah, just let us in. We want to have a shindig in your jazz club or blues club.
Yeah,
like
and
no,
guess who's not welcome into the party? Like it's
But
literally
they knew they weren't welcomed into the party. That's why they were hanging out outside trying to figure out who was going to leave first.
Well, yeah, they
And
were
it
waiting for dinner.
infuriated
They were waiting for Din Din, but
I know,
you
but
know.
it infuriated me that the one that decided to go out was Mary. They she's like, oh, well, I'm gonna fix this. Like, what was she supposed to do in that time period? What infuriated me was in that time period, whether she was passing or not, if you were that individual that they thought you could have been passing and you're around a whole bunch of people that they feel if you're passing you shouldn't be around because it's going to announce who you really are. Having 3 white people show up and then she's the one who sent out, that would have never happened.
Oh yeah, it would.
No, it would not have ever happened. First of all, she's female.
and
Second of all, we as a female that was passing, she should have never even been there. She was taking a huge risk even going there, let alone having 3 white people show up and see that she was there. That could have ruined her whole entire ability to hide. If they were not vampires, of course.
So
okay, so
they didn't even know they were vampires.
I'll rebut that in a minute, but you go ahead, Cycle.
No, I was just going to say, so your argument with this is that sending out the white woman.
No. She wasn't sent out. She did it on her own, which was
okay. So the
really
white
dumb.
woman, the white woman, going out.
She was sent out by one of the brothers. They had an agreement that they were going to, because they had mentioned money, and the other brother was the one that was all about business. Like, you can't be having IOUs for payment and stuff. So he was like, okay, well, they talked about money.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you go out there and find out how much?
That was dumb.
So a white woman goes out to go talk to other white folk.
No, she wasn't white. She was passing.
Yeah.
She's what?
She's passing.
Okay, so she's mixed. I'm under the impression. I get the impression that mom was not white, dad was.
Yes.
Okay.
Could be wrong on that, but she came back there to bury her mom. And I'm assuming if she's burying her mom is going to be like the people of the area. Although there are white people in that area, I'm assuming her mom was of color
So
and her dad is not.
So someone that looks similar in ways to them goes out to talk to them
Mm-hmm.
and is then going to try and come back in to vouch for them to be like, hey, it's cool. They passed the test. They're cool to come in. Like you're having a problem with that.
No, I'm having a problem with her going out there because in that time
Why
period,
are you having a problem with that? Because
it infuriates me that they would use that cliche move.
Someone always is stupid and does something like that in these movies.
Yeah.
Like,
No,
have you
was
watched Dawn of the Dead?
This is
You've watched
really
Dawn of the
dumb.
Dead? Let me go
Did you
check and
not
see why that door's
pay
open.
attention to why it was done. Like I said,
Well, in your viewpoint,
it's not a viewpoint. I can't remember between Smoke and Stack. One was about business, the other one not so much. He was willing to take IOUs.
Yep.
His brother chewed him out about those IOUs. We can't be doing this. Oh, they look at them. They're happy. They're having fun. They'll come back. They'll be, loyal customers. No, we need money. All right. So those folks walking up to the door talking about money, he was willing to let them in when they said that. His brother was like, no, y'all get on down the road with your own kind of thing. So he sends his former girlfriend out there because she seems like she's up for it. Find out what they got or how much they got. Because if it's a lot, so I can get my brother to shut up, maybe we'll be even or things will be settled or square or whatever. That's why she was sent out there, because you're not going to send somebody of color to talk to three white folks. It's that time in the 30s. That's not happening.
you're not going to send
She's
a female
passing.
out to do it either.
Wait.
Yes,
She's
you are.
passing, right? They're
That's
willing to come
way
up to
more
a club of people of color. Yeah, that would happen. Now. No, here's where the difference would be. If they were all about being the checkout or the lookout for the KKK, it would be a totally different story. But then again, if it was about the KKK, they would have approached way different. So it made sense for these three vampires walking up, seeming like they wanted to join in that party or celebration, to have her go out there because there's nobody else out there.
And I disagree.
You can disagree all you want.
I disagree.
I got people passing in my family, and you'll say that you have people passing in your family. I disagree. They're not passing. You can tell easily they're not.
Well, I mean, you can tell
have people that are passing that you cannot
you can tell during the summertime they're not. I will admit that. You can tell during the summertime, but some of them can during the wintertime.
When your family?
Yeah. Some of them can.
No, she can't.
Really
no, she can't. She can't pass for a little bit.
Yes, she can.
She can't pass for a little bit.
Yes,
I'm telling you. She may have passed in Jersey. I'm talking about Mississippi. She ain't passing in Mississippi.
She's never been to Mississippi.
And she wouldn't have been passing in Mississippi. I guarantee she wasn't passing in Texas either.
Well, I don't know about Texas.
Yeah, like I'm telling you, she wouldn't have been passing in Texas. She passes in Jersey. She passes in Jersey because it's the north.
You're making Cypher uncomfortable again.
No, he's not making me uncomfortable at all. No, I'm just blown away because I'm looking at the time and we're already an hour and 20 in. And
I know.
We literally brought up impressions and then shit just went south.
Yeah. Yeah, because she don't want to talk about the movie. She just wants
she wants the doggy pile on it. She wants
I was talking about the movie and you disagree with me.
Ryan Coogler had a specific vision for a movie, and she's like, "Fuck that movie."
Yeah.
And you know what? You know what? Fuzzy says the same thing about Wes Anderson and Resident Evil. Okay.
Resident Evil.
I don't say F that movie. I just say the video game is better.
No,
That's different.
The movies. The
No,
movies
I even
not
said
good.
earlier it was a
The
good
movies are not good.
popcorn movie, but that's it. The video game's better.
No, that's not our conversation. You're downplaying what you said. Anyway.
Oh boy, I'm just blown away that this was the movie that suddenly like made us draw lines in the sand and be like, motherfucker, you're not crossing this line. Like this is wild. This is wild. I've seen I think at least one or two people in the chat being like, man, I should have made some popcorn for this. This is something. So good.
Hey,
Great time to be here listening.
Patrick Presto was here.
Oh, Jesus Christ. No, because you and him would be like brony fanning out about Twilight. And I just, no, I don't need that in my life. Just kidding. He wouldn't like Twilight either. You're the only one on that island.
Well, yeah, but he would have come up with something else to support
He
me.
would have. He would have shit on this too. And I know it because like when he asked me earlier today, he's like, "Hey, what are you giving this movie?" And I told him, he's like, "Jesus Christ, you're giving it that?" I was like, "That bad? That bad for you? All right."
Uh-huh.
It's a contentious pick, apparently. Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to avoid.
You don't like good movies. We've reaffirmed this. It's fine.
Whatever. So I'm just letting you know that when a few people had said, you know, they didn't like it, and then somebody told me why they didn't like it, and that was, you know, it was very, very slow. And then, you know, all the action was pretty much in the last 30 minutes. I will disagree. It was not in the last 30 minutes. I will say there was, you know, more action there was action that came up before then, but it was in, you know, dribs and drabs. Because like I said, I can sit through a 3-hour movie. I can sit, I love Salem's Lot, the original. And Return to Salem's Lot, I like that one too.
God bless.
And there's other movies that I like that are well past the 2.5 mark. But this one, I just felt there was a lot of cliche, a lot of I've seen it before, and it just felt like it was kind of pieced together. And I don't think it, even if there was unique shots in it, I don't think it was enough for this to be, you know, I'm all about the rewatchable, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is not something that I would sit through again. Even parts of it I wouldn't sit through. You know, it was very cliche on who was going to die. It was, you know, aggravating that they went with that stereotype. You know, I didn't think there was a lot of character development in here. There were still questions I had about the brothers. There were still questions about. Well, I mean, honestly, it came up. It's like we were even arguing about this. It's like, okay, they were soldiers, and they worked for Capone. It just felt like they were there was more. It was more about what people were rumored to, what they heard as far as rumors, rather than the actualities. You know, of whether they were soldiers or whether they worked for the mob.
Why couldn't they be both?
Well, I understand that, but they were kind of young to be both. Unless they ran away. Remember, one of them had a kid.
Yeah.
How long? Yeah, but how long ago was that? Because I couldn't tell how long ago that was. That could have been.
If I'm not mistaken, there was a 10-year gap from the last time they were in that area, and they weren't in that area that those 10 years prior for that long. So I'm assuming the 10-year gap is when they moved to Chicago. The military stuff came up before that. So
Okay, so when were
these
they?
individuals are, I'm going to say, in their 30s.
Okay, so when
late
so
30, well, late 30s to
Mid
possibly
to
early
late
40s.
okay, so their gun handling ability in a non-war situation, which in that case they could have probably missed. They definitely probably missed the First World War. They weren't ready for the Second World War at that time because it was the 1930s, not the 1940s.
When was
So
the First World War? 19 what?
it ended 1919.
1919. Okay,
Mhm.
so we're in 32.
Yes. So that
They
was
left for Chicago in 22. Like
yes.
I said, the military stuff that they did was prior to that 10-year gap.
So
So what are you talking about?
according
Yeah,
to the internet,
okay, go
Smoke
on.
was born around 1895 and died in
Uh-huh.
1932, making him
Uh-huh.
approximately 37.
Mhm.
Okay, so he was 37, all right?
Yeah, which
But
would make perfect sense if he supposedly had a kid and did all those things, because you can get into the military like when you're 17.
Yeah.
You can
no,
do
you could have gotten
plenty
there.
in
You could
those
have gotten
years.
there before 17 at that time. You could have been in there before 17. But my
Okay,
thing,
so
yeah, but my thing is that I wanted to know what war they were talking about or where
It was
were they
World War
stationed?
One. How hard is that?
that would have been
No,
one.
it's
World
not
War
because
II wasn't until the 40s.
okay,
You
there
didn't
were
pay
other
attention to when they said there was a 10-year gap from the 32 that we saw is when they left for Chicago.
uh-huh.
They said the war stuff was before that. So
Yes.
if that's 22 and earlier, the war ends in 19. Obviously, they finished up in 19, and it took them a couple of years before they set off to Chicago. Were you not paying attention?
That's not what
Oh,
I'm saying.
oh shit.
Okay, so let's talk about this. The Russian Civil War was between 1917 and 1922. The Turkish
Okay.
War of Independence was 1919 to 1922.
Mhm.
Okay, so the Spanish Civil War, that was 1930, well, that was 36 to 39. But there were other wars that we kind of did participate in some way, shape, or form in
Okay,
helping.
and soldiers of
I want to
color
know which one.
participated in those other ones as opposed to World War One.
Okay, because I'm going to be honest with you, if it was World War One, they wouldn't have had guns. They wouldn't have been allowed to
They
touch
would have had
them.
rifles. They would have
No,
had
they were
rifles.
not allowed. Black
Yeah.
people were not allowed to touch them. They were
Okay,
not. That was
Uh,
that was said in Pearl Harbor. Remember the movie of Pearl Harbor?
that's World War Two,
Remember that
right?
one guy that was in
those,
Pearl Harbor that
Okay,
he had
those
he
two.
had
all right.
that he
So my grandfather, World War One,
yes
definitely touched guns. Now he was a Navy cook,
yes.
but you can believe what you want to believe. They had access to rifles. You're not going
I'm
to
not.
have somebody be a soldier over there and not have a rifle. Like,
And
does
guess
that
what?
make sense?
Some were not allowed to have them. There was an actual law in on
Okay.
the books that said, especially during Pearl Harbor, that's why they had that big thing about that guy that got on that was on one of the ships that actually took control
Okay,
of the
that's
gun or
not
whatever
a
on there.
gun. That's not a rifle for the
I'm
person.
not
That's a
saying it
gun
was.
on the ship that he
I
used.
understand that, but what I'm
They
saying
weren't allowed to operate those as far as the heavy guns that
no,
are
that was
on a
not
vehicle.
true.
So they're not a tank operator. They're not a ship gunner.
I understand
And it
that.
took until what, late World War II for them to be in play or like the Tuskegee airmen and stuff like that. So
Yep.
they were allowed to have rifles.
But they
I
were
don't know
not
where you
allowed.
got
You're
that
not
otherwise.
understanding what I'm
The
saying.
issue the issue is you're basing it off of something from World War II, Pearl Harbor, and
No,
the issue was heavy guns on a ship,
no,
not the rifles that
no, it
you
was not just them.
carry.
It was not just them. They were not
Okay.
allowed to use them. That's why a lot of them were truck drivers. That's why a
Okay.
lot of them were in certain positions. Yes, did they carry one? But were they always loaded? Probably not. That was a big thing. That was an argument. Okay.
And I
So
just think it's wild
we
that
argue
we're
all the time, by the
getting
way, guys.
stuck on. I think it's wild that we're getting stuck on the historical merits. That's what you brought up.
But yeah,
Given the fact that like
Well, let's look at this.
vampires did not exist in general in those times.
All right.
yeah.
It's not like
Well,
this
who
is
said
literally
they
a
didn't exist?
director. This is literally a director
Okay.
that had a vision and had like there are video games or movies, there are things that have alternate history revisions that they go for. This is his take on that time frame. If this were how it was.
You do not have to defend the director or the screenplay writer.
Well, you don't have to say that a black guy couldn't hold a gun at that time frame because maybe that's not what he chose to portray.
And that's fine. I'm just saying it's stereotypical and it's confusing for me.
I feel like you're getting too granular for it. It's literally just a director that had a vision and chose to portray that in this movie.
And you know what? Dead and Breakfast, the director had a vision.
Yeah, and it was a shitty vision. We discovered that.
But Ryan Coogler, his is so much more better. Okay, I see where you're at. I see where you're at.
I'll go back to my corner now.
I think he likes this director. I think that's what it is. And
I personally I went into it and I was like, oh cool, it's got Michael B. Jordan. Oh cool, it's got Ryan Coogler. That's cool. Trailer looks good. Okay, I'll go see the movie. And then I saw it and I was surprised, and it was different than what I was presented with in the trailer. And I feel like you're telling me that I watched a different movie than I watched, which is weird. Because I'm pretty sure those people were in this film, and it was the one that I
don't know. I've just seen better films that use this culture and these concepts and all of the background historical, and I've seen them do it just much better.
Okay,
and
so
I just didn't see it.
Give me an example of one that did it better where it came to black soldiers after World War One.
Well, I'd have to look that one
Any
up.
movie. Like, you do realize you can look it up.
I know, but I'm not.
I mean, Google's your friend, although I hate the AI of today, but
yeah,
there were black infantry units. They were segregated. They had rifles. I don't know why you're caught up on that. And I told you that when we watched the movie. Like, I have a picture of my grandfather sitting right in that room, and I know he had a rifle for the war.
Like
so I don't understand.
Listen to me. I'm not disagreeing with you, but I'm just saying in reference to some of the skills that they supposedly had in this movie and how comfortable they were in doing it, especially, when they were shooting at the end.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying that when they were in the actual barn and the fighting scenes and the rifle shots and everything like that, compared to the very end, I don't think they matched up with the skills that they were trying to portray and trying to.
How did they not?
Yeah, but here's
they were using pistols earlier, which the pistol would seem more like what would be.
We're getting off my point. Just let me finish my point, okay?
Okay.
I would have liked to have seen, as you say, you love flashbacks. I would have liked to.
No, I hate flashbacks.
Okay, well, I thought you said you liked flashbacks. Go and rewind it earlier. Okay?
Yeah, I said I don't like flashbacks. It's like they did a good job without having to do a flashback, which I said I hate flashbacks.
I wish they had done a little bit more backstory on them rather than talking about what's his name, the older guy, the older gentleman that was the musician.
Okay.
What's wrong with the musician?
I'm not saying there was anything wrong with him, but I would have liked to have if the main characters that are the ones that are supposed to be the heroes in this and not the sacrificial lamb like he was, I would have liked to have seen more backstory on them than the sacrificial lamb.
But what backstory,
Okay.
other than talking about the chain gang stuff, what backstory did Delta Slim have?
It was the amount of time that they told that story in. They spent more time telling his story than they did with all the little pieces that they were trying to fling at us with the brothers. Even Sammy, I knew more about Sammy than I knew about the brothers.
It's blowing my mind because, like I
Yeah.
said, this thing had a rich amount of story, and you're like, no, it didn't have enough. Then now you've come full circle to it needs more, so much
No,
more.
it needed precision. It needed precision. That's what it needed. It needed precision.
Oh, Twilight precision.
Okay. I needed precision. I needed the words and what the director and the screenwriter were trying to get across to us, because all of the little flinging here and flinging there was not enough for me to want to like them, because I didn't know them to like them. Even Mary, I didn't really know her either.
I mean, again, like I personally got plenty out of what was provided. I think maybe, again, like, you know, everyone's gonna have a different take on this, but what I got from it was what I was hoping for. As far as it, like, would it be cool if we had another movie where they went into more detail? Sure. But what they were presenting, I feel like, made a decent narrative explanation for why those characters were there.
See, I think the difference between me and you guys, and I don't know Matt. I don't know about Matt. I don't know where his, problem with the movie is, but I can say this: when I'm looking at a movie, I can either fill in the holes of and kind of be like, oh, well, this is probably why they did this, or this is probably why this person is doing this. I could not see that in this movie. And I'm pretty good in filling in the lines.
I don't think you were paying attention. That's
I
all.
was falling asleep.
That's
you
fine.
fell asleep.
That explains a lot of it. But
I was fuzzy today.
Yeah, I mean, like, the time period from 32 and prior, like, they did explain it. Like, I don't know why you didn't catch that.
I don't think they explained
it.
And
they gave more of the individual brother backstory between the two women that they had encounters with.
They gave a little bit. I know that they were probably married. The one brother was probably married to the voodoo lady.
Mm-hmm.
And they had a child. I get that.
Yeah.
I mean, they literally lined out a whole story about his situation.
But here's the
she was pissed off that he bailed, and he explained why he bailed. Like, it was a whole arc of the movie.
I get that. But guess what? How many times have I heard that before? How many
you
times
must have fallen asleep when they were explaining it, I guess. I don't know.
How many times have we heard that traumatic experience of the guy running away because there was a tragic experience?
Do you think that every person's human experience in life is going to be unique and different?
Yeah.
Because if that's what you're expecting, then I hate to break it to you, but a lot of us are very basic, plain, and our lives are very similar. Like, I don't know what I think you were expecting more than you got.
Yeah.
I think it was an over expectation.
It would make sense to have a different outcome from a traumatic experience if the story was more focused on them and their story. This wasn't about that. It was about them coming back to town and opening up a club that just happened to that basically encountered vampires that picked them off one by one.
And it should have been about them. It should have been just about the brothers. We shouldn't have had any other backstory unless it was connected to them specifically. And we got some muddy backstory from people, from other characters that they were interacting with. And that's why it was so long, but we didn't really get a connection between the characters. Were you sad?
You didn't get a connection.
I got lots of connection. I don't know.
Were you sad
You
of
didn't get a
any
connection.
characters dying? Were you sad about any of the characters
Yes.
dying?
Yes,
Which ones?
I was sad when
his wife
ended up
that
getting munched. I was
Yeah.
sad when the wife got killed.
Mhm.
There were multiple situations.
I'm the one who cries at almost everything that's sad, and I couldn't be
You
sad for
fell
these people.
asleep during the important parts, apparently.
No, I was awake during the important parts. I was awake during her death.
No, I'm
I was
convinced.
awake
the
when
argument
the guy
you brought up was
sacrificed
literally
himself.
skipping over the important parts.
I'm not saying that I wasn't there for them. I'm just saying that my mind was saying, okay, I've seen this before. I've seen this before. I've seen this
Again,
I've seen this before.
no movie is a unique, delicate snowflake.
I'm not saying that, but I would have liked to see a little bit more unique snowflakes coming down in this movie. Just a little bit. I ain't seen no snow.
My head hurts.
Yeah.
My head hurts. I'm going to not pour enough wine. This episode. God damn. I apologize, Fuzzy, because I feel like this has been a very very intense episode.
Yeah.
There have been some real thoughts that have come out in this.
Mhm.
My God. Chat, thank you for hanging out with us during this. I hope your popcorn is amazing. Christ, I don't know. Again,
Yeah.
you started this episode saying you thought you saw a different movie than us, and now I'm maintaining I must have seen a different movie than you. I agree.
All right, so
I agree.
we're gonna highlight some of these, okay? All right, so let's see. So I'm sorry if you think you slept through more of the movie than you realized.
Yeah.
Let's see what else. So Judah was sad that the bouncer died.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody, I fell asleep during this movie.
Yeah.
Fuzzy's usually one I gotta keep awake.
Yeah.
Let's see. You saw 3 snowflakes and they were all outside and couldn't get in without being.
Oh,
Yeah,
they
were
weren't unique snowflakes.
I do like how that whole interaction between the first vampire and that first family. He's like, they got my wife. They're hunting me now, and I just need to get inside, or I need to come in so I can get away from them. It's like,
you know what
then you
that's
see the guys coming on the horses, and it's like, did you let them in? Because that would be a very bad decision, kind of thing. It's like, oh well, it's too late for at least one of them at that point.
So
yeah, that is seriously a get the fuck out moment. Like that was, yeah.
Okay, so I'm just letting you know that what that said to me was, they that was a portrayal of dumbness, uneducatedness.
Hey, you saw the sheets in the background, huh?
and discrimination. Let's not listen to the people that know things because they couldn't possibly know anything because they ain't the same skin color as us. Yeah, that's all that said to me in that one shot right there.
But again,
with them coming to the door of the club, or with the guy coming to the house?
No, the husband and wife.
Which makes sense. Again, like you want to point out like the racism that was going on
honestly,
later on in the movie. But this is very much that is like, oh,
and
they're
I agree.
Indian. I don't think that, so I'm not going to say anything.
And I agree. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that that was about the most historical accurate thing in this movie,
Well, maybe he wasn't
in
going
my opinion.
Oh my
across the-
god. I really wish I would have taken more notes of my family history. Like you do remember me telling you about Peter Rich, right? The picture of my grandfather that's up on the bookshelf, his
Yeah.
father.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you want to talk about historically accurate?
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing, and this is I'm gonna throw this out here. I think your family, in all of the stories I've heard, has probably been a lot of unique situations. I'm just saying, especially your grandfather going in to a dealership and being able to pay, except for just enough to like establish credit on a car and walking out with people actually attending to him. I mean, that right there was unique in
No, it wasn't.
what
Not
I
for the
remember
80s.
that
Not
time.
for a business owner in Norristown, it wasn't.
Well, I'm just being honest with you. 1980s was not the best for everybody. In fact, majority of people,
but it wasn't bad for people in Pennsylvania. It wasn't like anything remotely close to the 30s. Like, understand, he was a businessman ever since he got back from the war. He owned his own dry cleaners and then had a franchise and then sold the property to a franchise grocery store for a lot of money, and he was worth a lot of money.
So did he know the people in the dealership?
No, he went to the dealership because he needed a car because his Delta 88 stopped working to his liking, and he was like, you know what? I want that Grand Prix. How much is it? Oh, it's this. Well, I can write you a check for like a couple thousand less or something. And they're like, okay. I mean, I'm pretty sure it was a little bit more back and forth, but you know, when somebody comes in, like, you've seen me buy a truck, you've seen me buy the Jeep. I already had cash in hand.
No, I know
the
that.
truck took longer than I.
That's not what
I think it was the Jeep that took longer, but
that's not what I'm saying.
When you can walk in and you already have the money in hand, you don't have to finance, you don't have to do a credit check or any of that.
Well,
yeah, they do treat you different today, and they did the same in the 80s. Like,
I understand that, but what I'm saying is that some of your experiences of walking into a dealership were not like that.
Well, no, because when I was younger, I didn't know to have cash in hand and then talk to them beforehand and be like, what's your out the door price? Okay, can you do this? And
no,
that's
I'm talking
out
about
the door.
I'm talking about the Beetle.
Yeah, well,
new Beetle.
They saw a young kid that just had a brand new. Well, I looked a lot younger back then.
Mm-hmm.
I looked like I was probably around 16 or whatever. Here I am in my early to mid 20s, and it's a good thing I guess I didn't get the Beetle because it wouldn't have been a great car or anything.
No,
I had a Jeep, and I was looking to trade it, and they're like, it's like, okay. So I went back to the a Jeep dealer that was up the street from them and got the newer Jeep. Like, it was a different time. My money was different then too, in comparison to later. So it's let's just say over time you learn how to shop or conduct business over time. That's and in the 30s, if you had cash in hand, do you remember how they got the cash in hand? Did you hear that conversation?
What was that? I'm reading the comments right now. Oh, we got some good ones.
No,
we got
but there's some good ones, yeah. But no, like when it comes to how the twins had the money, did you hear that part or remember that part?
No, I remember that part. But like I said, again, that was kind of
It
cliche.
just wasn't original.
That was kind of what?
Well, that was cliche. It's like, oh, well, they probably got it. So, you know, one of them was like, oh, you rob banks and take that dirty money and stuff like that. And then others were saying, oh, well, he worked for Capone. That's why he's got all this stuff. You know, come on now.
No, did you actually hear them talk about how they actually got it?
Well, tell me again.
No, I'm asking, like not what other people said, the conversation, and this is why it explains why the individual that went outside, and why they were having a conversation prior.
Tell me.
Okay, so apparently the setup was, yeah, they worked for Capone, but they, I guess, skimmed something and made it. They set it up in a way that it would lead to Capone looking elsewhere as opposed to them. Now, the one lady that went outside the club was saying at some point they're going to catch on, and they're like, by that point we'll be ready for them.
And again,
but
it's not like I haven't heard that before.
Oh, Jesus.
But then again, stuff like that actually happened.
I know it did. And I'm not saying that's not accurate, but I'm just saying they could. Like, why can't they just have been like, work for Capone, made some money, we hightailed it out of there? You know, why is it always got to be, oh, well, they come and look for us? Come on now. If they want,
because the kind of money that they had is the difference. Like, first of all, Capone is not paying people of color the same he would pay his own people. Secondly, they got close enough, I guess, being, you know, the good gunmen that they were, that he trusted them a bit more. They saw an opportunity, they seized it, they got other people blamed for it, and they got out of there. And you know, it's up to Capone if he wants to try to travel down the Mississippi, which, if I remember right, he didn't really do stuff like that. Although he did have speakeasies, you know, between the two places. But yeah,
he wasn't okay. So he wasn't like Escobar or whatever. He wasn't like that, where it's like, oh, I have this building with my money in it, and I got, you know, mice eating it and stuff like that because I have so much money. But he kind of did have so much money that it's like, why am I going to chase after people? Yeah, why am I going to chase after people when I can just make more money? I mean, he had other problems to deal with, especially, you know, tax fraud.
In the 32s, or in 32, yeah, he had a lot more other problems to deal with.
I mean, he had a whole entire task force, police task force, constantly on his people all the time. So he really didn't have much time or people to go sending after other people that supposedly screwed him over. You know, I get all that, but I'm just saying that's from other movies. I wanted something original, something that would keep me awake, and this didn't.
Oh my God. I'm going to remember this for every movie you watch from now on.
And like,
Simpsons did it. Simpsons did it. Simpsons did it. It's like,
I know, that's fine, but I'm just saying, almost every single movie you fall asleep in, but it's a problem when I fall asleep in one.
No, I'm not saying it's a problem when you fall asleep. I'm just saying you're going off with the originality aspect, and some of the movies you love the most are not original. That's all I'm saying. The hypocrisy in that statement speaks volumes.
I think you falling asleep in movies speaks volumes.
Yeah, it tells you that it didn't hold my attention. I'm not going to disagree on it. But I'm not going to be like, oh, I fell asleep because it wasn't original. I'll be like, it didn't hold my attention. Why didn't it hold my attention? I'm not
because it wasn't original.
Well, no, I wouldn't say it was because it wasn't original. I'll just say I'm not into romantic vampire films or teeny bopper converted into. I
don't even know how we classified this one. It wasn't really action.
There was action in it, but it wasn't like a non-stop, like,
that's what I mean,
popcorn kind of thing. It was there was some suspense, there was build up. I get it. For some people, the build up for some was too long. It
I
held
think
my
a lot of
attention.
people said it was too long.
That's what she said.
I think a lot of people said it was too long.
I'm just gonna say, because it's in the chat, and in case we have anyone who's not paying attention to the chat, I'm just gonna say I can't wait until I'm like Fee and I get to go see a completely original movie with people not doing anything like any other person would have ever done. I can't wait to see that fucking movie. I truly can't, because she must be going and seeing movies different than me, because I feel like most movies I've seen, I've been like, oh yeah, I can rate this and compare this to other things. Clearly she's watching different movies than me, because almost every fucking movie I've ever seen can be compared to something else, and thoughts and ideas were pulled from those movies.
Okay, so maybe what
Blows my mind.
Maybe what you should do is start watching movies from the 1960s and 70s.
And like I said earlier, for the last 30 years, everything that's come out has had pulls from previous things.
So that would be 1995.
So
Yeah.
when that's the only argument you have,
But
I'd
the
say it's
70s
just kind of a
was
bogus
before.
argument, because
I know,
we're
but
not moving backward in time. We're going to move forward in time,
so this,
which means we're only going to see more things be recycled over the years.
okay, that's
Yeah.
fine.
So does
but
that mean that every movie that we see moving forward is inadequate
No,
because
we'll find
someone
something
has a
new.
similar idea?
No, we'll
We're
find
always going to
something
be moving forward in history, which means we're always going to be showing something that already happened.
Mm-hmm.
So first of all,
Like, that's not an
no.
argument. That's
No,
not a
no.
valid argument.
No. Here's the thing, okay? Like this right here. Yes, we got stuff from books. There are movies based on books. We still have movies based on books, right?
Mm-hmm.
Y'all like to watch, come up with Twilight or whatever. But that originally was a book first.
Yeah.
Okay, Clockwork Orange was a book first.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, so the movies were just repeat garbage.
No, because some of those
No, they were, because
screenplays-
again, they
Yeah, but-
fell after the books, which means they're garbage,
I know,
because
but some of those
it's a
books,
repeat idea.
I know, but some of those books that became movies were not, page for page. There were some things that were taken out or were not put into the movies.
Yeah, where Edward yawned instead of where in the movie he gracefully fluffed his hair.
No. So in the books, let's just take Twilight for example. In the books, they actually went to college, so it didn't stop at a high school. They actually went to college.
Oh, God.
She was actually a good cook. She in the books they had these, there were longer talks. There was a lot of things. Some of the backstories for the other characters, like for example, the one Jasper's mate. Jasper's mate was actually in a mental institution when they had found her. Yeah. So there were.
So like Clockwork Orange when people were in an institution. Oh,
I'm just saying.
or you said she was a good cook. So like women that used to cook and be stay-at-home wives.
No, she wasn't a stay-at-home wife. She was in college.
No, but she was a good cook. So she was
in stay-at-home wife preparation.
No, she was not a stay-at-home wife preparation.
Decades.
Okay, now you're just trying to read between the lines and you're doing it wrong.
Just original idea.
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't like the Twilight. Okay, I know.
No.
Out later.
No, I could say
I'm just saying.
The Dead. I could say like, oh yeah, I've seen this before. Oh yeah, I've seen these ideas before. Because
hey, don't mess with the zombie movies. Fuzzy's gonna get you on you about the zombie movies now.
I'm sure.
No, I know they're not original. That's the thing. It doesn't bother me that they're not original.
Okay, so wait a minute. You mentioned Dawn of the Dead, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I like the remake more than the original.
The remake.
Yeah.
actually had a unique
Great.
premise. And what was that unique premise?
What, Fast Zombies?
Yes, that's when they came out with Fast Zombies.
Yeah, and that's fine. I like that it is a remake. Like, originality doesn't bother me as much as it
Okay.
apparently bothers you.
So let's
Like,
talk about 28 days.
Exactly.
Let's talk
Yeah.
about 28 days. What was original about that?
they weren't zombies, but they act
They
like
weren't
what
zombies.
we now look at zombies. They were infected with rabies. It was the rage virus.
And
Yeah.
I understand that, but that's enough uniqueness to hold my attention
So,
and not make me fall
so,
asleep.
but what you're
It-
saying
I-
then, because okay, we had originality there, but now
Mhm.
everything that ever does anything similar to that is not adequate.
No, I'm not
Doesn't
saying
matter
that.
what other ideas they have, because
I'm
that
not
idea has
saying
been done.
that. I'm not
It's
saying
been
that.
seen. No,
I'm
but
not
you
saying
said
that.
it's been seen before.
I'm not
So it's
saying
equivalent.
that. But I'm not saying that. I'm saying that I could not find anything, even the slightest, that was original in Sinners. Not even the slightest.
Look at
For me, it
movies
was the
of the last 30
perspective
to
for the characters. It just
You guys
point.
obviously like this movie. And you're
Yes.
No,
going to
I
recommend this movie.
like the movie, but I just don't like the argument because I feel like it's not really based in any reality.
Yeah. It just
Like-
it feels like you're picking to pick kind of
No,
thing.
I'm not
All the-
picking
all
to
the
pick. This is not
movies.
Jeepers Creepers. This is not
The
Jeepers
majority of the movies for the last like 3 or 4 decades
Creepers.
are not original. So like what you said earlier is that because they're not original, they're not good.
I never
Which
said that.
I have a core problem with. Well,
I'm
you
not
said that this
saying
one
that.
wasn't good because it didn't have any original
No,
ideas.
I'm saying there was a lot of problems with this movie. You guys are hung up on this. Oh, it wasn't original ideas in there. That's why she didn't like it.
Okay,
No,
okay.
that's not
so
what I
for
said.
Mm.
That's
Chat,
not
so
what
for
I said.
the record,
You said there's no originality in this.
it's
and
not
you've seen it
historically
scene for
accurate.
scene in other places. So tell
I
me
understand
what
that.
the problem is. How did this movie hurt you?
How did it hurt me?
So it's not historically accurate. It's not original. What other do we have? Let's put them all up on the board.
Fuzzy thinks this movie hurt me. I feel,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
feel
show
he
us-
has.
Show us on the doll. Show us on the doll. Oh man, I feel like we're in an intervention instead of a podcast.
I think we should chop up this episode. I think we should chop up this episode. I really think.
Yeah,
it's
this
that-
might have to be a
this one.
two-parter. Jesus Christ. We've got a lot to unpack on this movie apparently.
I don't
Might
think
I add, we literally have still only ever talked about our initial impressions. We never moved on to another section.
Yeah. Like I've tried to interject some stuff, like the whole, like the background that they did talk about with the twins, and the Asian couple that owned both stores that were across the street from each other, which from a perspective of the times and the area, you had the white store and you had the non-white store. That was unique in its way of how the ownership between the two was shown, but you won't acknowledge that.
That I've seen that in other movies.
So you've seen a couple own both the white store and the non-white store.
I have seen in
and
movies.
walk across the street sometimes to talk to each other
I
about.
have seen literally in movies, and I'm not talking horror movies. I'm seeing actual movies where they had a family that owned the dry cleaning, they owned the convenience shop, they owned the grocery store, and then they owned a whole nother set for a whole nother group of people.
But that's not what they own. They own the white grocery store
Yes.
and the non-white grocery store.
Yes.
That's
And
it. They didn't own the dry cleaners. They didn't own
You're
a
not listening.
sewing shop.
Fuzzy.
You're not
Fuzzy,
listening
it
to what I
wasn't
said.
historically accurate enough.
What I said was they pretty much own the whole freaking town of all the businesses. That means that they own for the white and for the black patrons. Okay. I've seen it where where it was between different factions of people where they owned it for the poor people and they owned it for the rich people, and the prices were different, of course.
But have you seen where one couple owned both grocery stores?
Yeah, that's not new. That's not new.
What movie did the couple own both
not
grocery
telling you
stores?
off the top of the head.
It's not new.
I'm just the
trust me, bro.
different movies.
So even if they own all the stores, just because this couple owned 2 of the stores, it's not original. But okay.
You're not listening.
I'm talking about the dynamic of them walking across, and the wife working at the white store, and the husband and the daughter working at the non-white store. Like, that was an interesting dynamic
for you.
Yeah, because as someone that had a family that owned some of the stores or owned the town, it's
and it was humorous. It was humorous. I know. You don't dig humor, but it was humorous.
I don't get humor.
Oh man.
Oh no, we might have to do 2-part.
We've opened Pandora's box.
Yeah. It's already 8:06 and we still can't agree on anything.
Well, you might as well let everybody know what your score is.
Oh no, you guys go first because I do.
No. Go ahead and get your score out of the way.
We don't want to paint yours. We want yours to be an original score.
Mm-hmm.
So here are the speculations.
Interesting.
Think interesting. What was the Matt's?
What was Matt's? I'm not bringing his up. I don't know. No. I will say for certain it was higher than yours.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's higher than the speculated 4?
Yes, it was. Okay. All right, fine. If you want me to bring his in, I will go ahead and bring it in. So he said, sorry, he texted me a lot after that. Okay. So he went ahead and said it's a 7 for him. It's a musical, then vampire movie. Fast forward hour and 15 minutes. It's a good movie.
Fast forward an hour and 15 minutes into the 7. Oh my god.
No. He said as a whole, it's 7.
As a whole, it's a 7. Anybody else have any ratings?
No. I want to hear yours.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying anybody else in the chat.
Judah. Yeah, I think Judah might
that's accurate.
Nailed it for you.
Seems about right. I wouldn't be surprised if it was lower.
All right, anybody else? Guesses? Anybody else?
I'm thinking you give it a 3.
You think I'm gonna give it a 3?
Have we had a film that someone rated as a negative yet? Because I'm feeling like that might be possible.
No, I will say it's not a negative. I won't give it a negative.
Okay, so it's a whole number. Okay.
Negative numbers are only the ones that I turn off. If I don't finish the movie, I'm going to give it a negative.
Mm-hmm.
I
mean, you fell asleep multiple times. So that's
I know, but I mean, even if I fall asleep, Fuzzy. If I had turned it off, Fuzzy would have probably been mad at me.
Mm-hmm. You go upstairs.
Someone's warming that couch tonight. I'll let you all the other. You can have an original idea on who that might be.
Oh, really? All right. All right. So I'm actually gonna say Judah's right this time. Is a 2 for me.
Wow.
It's a 2.
Wow.
I felt like I was watching several movies that I have seen before in clips. It's not. This is not the first movie I felt that way. To be honest with you, there have been other
That's good,
movies.
because I would argue that that's a really flawed take if this was the first movie
No,
that
this
I
is
ever
not
had.
this is not the first movie that I felt that way. But yeah, this was one of them. For it to be a mainstream movie, I was surprised, because usually when I see a movie that feels like clips of other movies that I've seen, and basically just kind of like fan, directors just being fan, boys or girls or whatever, it's usually a lower budget movie. For it to be a mainstream that got all this attention, yeah, I don't. There were much better movies that came out that didn't get as much. So, and I like Get Out. I like Peele stuff. So it wasn't that part. I just don't think that in this movie they spent the time on the key elements, because it was easy to not hear some of the backstory, because it just was really fast on how they said it. It just was very muddy. So yeah.
And you liked Get Out. Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
I liked Get Out. I liked
I hated Get Out, but that's another story for another time.
No, I like Get Out, and I also like the other one.
Hated it.
You hated Get Out?
Yes.
Did you like his other one? What was it called? Us and
Nope.
Them, or something like that? You didn't
I don't
like
think
that?
I've seen Us. Nope. It was all right.
What was the third one he did?
Well, there's Us, which I haven't seen. That's the one where it's the family stalking themselves kind of thing or something. Nope is the one with the. Hopefully, I'm not spoiling this for
And you
anybody.
didn't like
Hopefully, you've
Nope.
already seen it. It's the one with the spaceship.
You didn't like Nope, because I never saw that
Nope
one.
Nope was all right. Like,
That was slow.
it was different for something with a spaceship, but Get Out. There's some parts of Get Out I just it.
Is it that you didn't like those parts that he put in, or you just felt that it didn't move the story along? Or is it just it outraged you? It made you rage.
I wouldn't say it outraged me, but it definitely rubbed me a wrong way, kind of thing.
Well, then he did his job.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure he wanted to get a certain emotion out of his audience, but
yeah. And sometimes it's enough. I mean, how many people have seen Requiem for a Dream multiple times? Probably not many, and I question on why they would watch it again. Same with Serbian film.
You always like to bring that one up.
Well, yeah, because it's one of those that, there's others. Would you like me to mention? Was it what's the one where it's 180 days solemn or something like that? I gotta get the title again, but that was like one of the most outrageous, I can't believe this was kind of made kind of film. And then for older people, when Kids came out, that was another one that outraged people. It's like, how can you do this? How can you make these kids do this? This is ridiculous, kind of thing. So yeah, Jordan made 3. It was Get Out, Us, and Nope.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he technically made 4 because he just made Him, and that thing.
Oh, he made
bombed.
Him. I haven't seen that one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think he wrote part of it, but I think somebody else directed it or something. It's almost like they intentionally attached his name to hopefully get people to watch.
Okay, that would make sense, because this is the first one that just did not do well at all. So that would make sense.
I mean, it had some interesting takes, but I don't think it went far enough. That might be part of the problem.
It looked interesting, but they probably showed the interesting parts in the trailer.
Yeah, he was a producer on Him.
Okay.
Yeah, the other one that he's having come out that he's a producer on is People Under the Stairs.
Hmm.
The remake for that one.
He's currently, I know you don't like video games, but he's currently working on video game and doing stuff with Kojima.
Mhm.
Yeah. OD.
So maybe that's partly
Mhm.
why he's just a producer on some of these things. Is like
Yeah.
he's got other irons in the fire.
Well, he has an untitled Jordan Peele project, and he was also the one that did the remake for Candyman. He wrote that one.
Oh, did he? I liked that actually.
Yeah, he did the screenplay for that one.
Huh.
Yep.
I did not know that.
About. So yeah, he's. Yep. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff that he's produced and everything, but like I said, I thought it was a 2 or something like that, and I didn't really find it humorous, even in the slightest. Yes, Fuzzy heard no giggles from me.
So
Fuzzy, do you want to tear this apart, or do you want me to jump in?
I'll go. For me, like I said, there were a lot of things that appealed to me for this movie. Without going into family history stuff, although my family was not from Mississippi, it was Virginia. Some similarities, different businesses, let's just say. But for the most part, I like how this turned out. I could see how people would say this was a bit long, but as noted, I didn't fall asleep, didn't doze off once. It kept my full attention the entire time. The Smoke and Stack brothers, I like the fact that how they gave them their each their personality as far as twins and whatnot, and how they interacted, and which one handled certain aspects of taking care of business, or certain aspects of their daily dealings, which one is the trigger man, or more likely to be the trigger man, which one's the negotiator kind of deal. And just I like even though it wasn't a full background story, but I like how they introduced other characters into the mix. And then once the club is up and running, how everything kind of, I wouldn't say falls apart, but slowly but surely, one by one, things start falling off. And how it came to a crescendo when one lady basically snapped because she was pissed off and wondering why nobody's doing nothing, kind of thing. So she brought the pain on by letting them in. And I like how it ended in the after credits kind of. Well, no, actually, I guess it wasn't after credits, but like without spoiling anything, the ending for Sammy. Not an ending of Sammy, but the ending showing Sammy and whatnot. But yeah, I give this a solid 8 or 8.5. I enjoyed it. It's rewatchable for me. I do recommend it if, like I said earlier, if you're interested in the perspective, like let's say the person of color Southern perspective from that time period with some vampires thrown in. I like what I guess Matt had text you, Cypher, as far as for it being a musical. That was about the weakest part for me. Although I understand what they were the vision that he was trying to bring across with showing like the different time periods mixing into that scene. But overall, the rest of the movie I enjoyed. I would recommend it to those, like I said, that are interested in that time period. And I will more than likely rewatch by myself, obviously, because Fia is not going to want to sit down for that one. But that's fine. There's some movies that she rewatches that, like Twilight, that I won't sit down and watch. So
all the time.
yeah, fair is fair, I guess. But yeah, that's basically it for me. I'm kind of sad that my wife didn't like it, but hey, we don't always see eye to eye on stuff, and so it goes. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to what our next movie will be, because that's another one that caught my attention. And if we got to torture Presto, then I guess we're going to torture Presto next week if he's up for it and stuff like that. But Cypher, what was your rating of this movie?
Whew. Okay, well, I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can top a 2 out of 10 because that's pretty impressive. No, I enjoyed this. The trailer that we saw, like I said at the beginning of the movie, it kind of sold me something different than I was expecting. And then when I went and actually saw the movie, I was very pleasantly surprised with it. I really enjoyed the character development that I experienced.
I'm still
Some
looking for
folks
it.
didn't experience some of that character development,
I'm
and
still looking for it.
I was not shuddered by the fact that there wasn't uniquely original ideas throughout the entire film, because I had realistic expectations about what
I
a
didn't say
movie is.
entire.
But for me, I would land it right around an 8.5 to a 9. I would argue also that just if we're talking about like original ideas, I think it's pretty wild the fact that Twilight is so revered by one of our podcast hosts when it
Not
literally
horror
rips off
movie.
from stuff like The Nocturne or The Silver Kiss and Blood Chocolate or some other ones that it rips off from, because it's not an original piece of art either. But
Never said it
again,
was.
fun fact, just like I've said multiple times on this show to try and reemphasize, for the last 3 to 4 decades at least, most of the movies that you see have recycled ideas and thoughts and things that you've seen in other movies, because surprise, we're only moving forward in history. We're not moving backwards, which means we're not going to see more original ideas unless suddenly something drastic changes. I find it interesting, some of the hypocrisy.
Hypocrisy,
But
really?
I enjoyed. Peanut Gallery. Um, but I enjoyed this movie, and I would definitely recommend people watch it. Make your own decision on it. Obviously, we've got really bad takes, and then we've got decent takes on this episode, and I would definitely recommend anyone who hasn't seen this. I think Punty hadn't seen it in the chat, maybe one or two others, but definitely watch it if you haven't. There's a lot going on in this film. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot for everyone, and apparently not a lot for some. So that's where I'll leave it.
So yeah, I'm not saying don't watch a movie. I mean, I would literally tell you why not to watch a movie. One
Don't
of
watch
them is
anything that's not original.
no. One of the reasons why I would say not to watch a movie is you can't hear what's going on. If you can't hear what's going on in the movie, then what's the point of the movie? You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying it's not supposed to be a silent film to begin with.
Fuzzy couldn't hear what was happening in the movie because you were constantly correcting it as he was trying to watch the movie.
No, I was probably heavy breathing, because I fell asleep. Because I don't snore, I heavy breathe.
Well,
That's
when you sleep halfway through the movie, I guess that explains why it's a 2. That makes sense.
Anyway, so I'm not saying don't watch it. If you want to spend your time, you can watch it. But I'm not gonna watch it again. And then I was in protest when I watched it in the first place. So I'm just like,
Still looking for those original movies.
He was paying me back for all his movies I make him watch.
Good luck and Godspeed.
This was not a punishment. This was a good movie that you just don't appreciate. That's all.
Yeah,
You're
I
just
think
you're just trying to be a hipster, and you're like, I don't like it because everyone else likes it, so I'm trying to
Oh
be
no,
edgy.
no. No, I had no complaints about weapons that we saw. You know,
Well,
that
that was not very original in a lot of ways, also.
oh
Yeah.
come on, that
So I'm
was
surprised that you didn't
no.
have
Some of
more
that
other.
was original. That
Like,
was original. Some of
but
it
like,
was.
Was not.
Don't mess with
like,
me.
A
It
lot of it was
was.
not.
Come
what
on,
was
they had better
original?
visuals. They had better visuals in that one.
Oh, better visuals are original now. Okay, gotcha. Okay, gotcha. Okay. So as cameras
And come
advance,
on,
movies are
you
going to be
cannot.
better because they have better
All
Now,
right,
cameras.
all right.
well,
Okay.
here's the thing
say-
that's funny. Like you were saying, Sinners was predictable,
Oh,
but
yeah.
for you, Weapons was very predictable.
No, it was.
So,
but even if it's predictable,
Was Dead and Breakfast not predictable?
oh no, that's too.
Because
That's
I
not what
I
I'm
knew
saying.
exactly where that shit was going.
Okay, look. First of all, I can take predictable. If there are lovable characters, and you cannot tell me that Marcus
Most of
was
the
not a
characters were
lovable
pretty great.
character.
No, most of the characters in Sinners were great.
No, they weren't.
Yeah.
No, they weren't.
Oh yeah, they were.
No,
I
they
would
weren't.
argue that the pinky on one of the twins had more personality than the entire Dead and Breakfast movie.
Yeah.
We were talking about weapons. Why are you always bringing up Dead and Breakfast?
Okay, I would argue that the pinky of the main character had more personality than Dead and Breakfast.
Exactly. You can't get off Dead and Breakfast. You won't talk about weapons. You know you love Marcus. You know everybody loved Marcus. How can you
Who's
not love
actually
Marcus?
like the cop
Who's
and
Marcus
the other guy.
And
more
the
than
cop,
Marcus.
and you know the junkie was awesome. Come on now. That junkie was awesome.
Deflecting.
Yeah. I'm just James in that movie was awesome. Come on now. Okay.
It was
They were lovable characters.
It was comedy gold for the cop and the junkie.
Oh yeah, it
That's
was.
all.
That was. But come on, you gotta love Marcus too.
It was all right. It was just a bit spooky with him punching his, partner in the face, headbutting his partner in the face until he smashed his skull and pretty much deformed his own face, and then decided to do the Naruto run as a zombie towards the teacher.
You know you were cringing when Marcus was beating his head into his partner's head. You know you were like, eh.
Yeah.
I mean,
none of that in Sinners.
I definitely have to give Weapons credit over something like Dead and Breakfast because at least I remember the names of the characters because they were memorable.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you asked me to name people from Weapons, that's easy versus Dead and Breakfast. I'd be like, well, it's got that Jeremy Sisto guy, but I can't for the life of me tell you what his actual character's name is because I just fuck, man. Like,
anyway, oh, by the way, Marcus is the principal in Weapons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, somebody was asking.
yeah, that's Benedict Wong. That was from the Doctor Strange movies, I think.
I believe so. Yeah, Doctor Strange, Annihilation, Avengers: Infinity War, and The Martian.
I haven't seen Annihilation. I gotta watch that one.
Yeah. Well, he played the same named character in Doctor Strange and in Affinity.
Well,
War.
yeah, because it was yeah.
So he's a main character, repeating character. So, but he's been in other things that were good as well.
Yeah, his character. It was kind of unfortunate though because in those Marvel movies, his character just wasn't very original.
So he was in the 3 Body Problem, that TV series that Fuzzy likes.
I haven't finished watching it. It was all right to a point, and then when they started going into the VR stuff, that was a bit weird, and I think I fell off from there.
Yeah, but he's been in a lot of the Marvel movies. and stuff. But yeah. So I don't know what to tell you. I didn't like this, as you can see. So you guys did.
Yeah.
I don't agree. Don't torture me again. I'm gonna find a movie to torture you guys with.
Well, you know what my complaints and arguments will be. I'll just recycle the same ones.
I don't know as passionately as you did.
You better pick something
Sinners.
from the 1920s, because otherwise I'm gonna be like, no, that was already done.
I will say this: you two argued very passionately for Sinners than I've ever seen you guys do on any movie. Just to let y'all know. Okay.
Generally, just argue when someone brings a point that has no basis in reality.
No, because I
Like,
you were on the Jeepers Creepers one, right?
yeah, I was there for that.
Yeah, you did not defend Jeepers Creepers as well as you tried to with Sinners. Just to let you know.
You weren't throwing that it wasn't original. Oh, no. You weren't throwing that it wasn't original, but when you started crapping on it, like, well, as it turns out, this wasn't film accurate and blah blah blah, and we roasted you for that too. So let the record show we roasted you for that when you had a bad take also.
Okay,
yeah, it's like, the plot holes. Like, where did he get this vehicle worked on? Where's his license?
Over the 17 years that he's been out of commission, like, where's this car been serviced and blah blah blah. Like, we roasted you for that very heavily. Maybe you fell asleep while we were roasting you. I don't know.
No, I was very much
because we definitely were passionate about that as well.
I wouldn't say passionate. I would just say, I was using, I was letting you know all the plot holes, and the plot holes were doing it for me. Yes, the plot holes were definitely doing it for me. Your evidence was lacking in that one.
I'm gonna have myself a nice barrel aged after this to ease the.
I think at this point we could literally go until 10 o'clock at this point. So it's already 8:32. And I know my cats are going to start meowing at me again about where's food?
Yeah.
Where's the food guy?
Cool.
So you can do the outro start.
Oh, yeah. I can?
Yep.
I'm going to enjoy my 9 days. I'm going to enjoy my 9 days of trying to get Fuzzy to help me with stuff and see how that works out. We're definitely doing the Thanksgiving one, right?
I'm up for it. Hopefully Cypher's still up for it. We'll find out if Presto is up for it.
Yep, the in-laws will be here till Saturday, so I will absolutely be available for a Friday show.
I mean, do you want to do the Thanksgiving one that Presto sent, or did you find it?
Sure. Yeah.
All right.
I'm with it.
All right. I'll find which one it's on, and then, but yeah, I'm just gonna relax for the next until I have to go back December 1st. Not looking forward to that.
While Fuzzy slaves away.
What do you mean slaves away? He's having fun in his little podcast room. Yeah, sound
my video game stuff. Yeah. We'll see how this vacation time works.
Yeah, I got chores for you.
Of course you
do. So real quick, because we're talking about Thanksgiving, right? That's the one that I had recommended. So just for you guys, and also for anyone in chat, if you want to watch this one ahead of time, it is free and streaming on Pluto and on Tubi currently. Okay. So if you want to watch it ahead of time, or obviously for you guys as well, like, you can catch it for free. It's very easy to find.
It's all one word.
Yeah, it's just Thanksgiving, just one word.
Yeah, right there. Thanks killing.
Yep. Yeah, and it's Pluto TV or Tubi if you have either of those apps. As long as you have an account, which again is free, you can stream those. So
There you go.
perfect. Thank you.
Trash Panda's up on the sink again. Let me get her. All right.
Okay.
So who's next while I get my cat off the sink?
I'll throw my stuff in real quick.
Mhm.
You can find me on social media, Silent Cipher. Find me on Xbox. Hopefully, playing some games this weekend. Same thing, Silent Cipher. I've got a friend coming into town, so I'm going to be out of pocket for the beginning of this next week. But you should hopefully catch me playing some stuff for the next day or two. Besides that, find me here next Friday. I don't know, Fuzzy, is Boom doing a show Friday morning next week on Black Friday?
That I'm not sure. I know some podcasts are not on Friday, but Boom will definitely let us know by Monday. I think I'm going to guess that we're probably not doing a show Friday
Cool.
morning.
Okay.
We'll see.
Well, then I will sleep in on Black Friday. And yeah, you'll just catch me here again Friday evening next week. Not doing much else besides that currently, just because all the family is going to be coming into town, so it's going to be pretty hectic for the next couple days. Fuzzy, where can they find you?
Oh, basically on, well, not as much on social media. It's not that I'm completely abandoning social media. It's just usually I'm up there posting clips or podcasts and stuff that I'm on. So if you're looking to hear my rambles and rants on anything gaming related or even horror movie related, just do a search for Fuzzy Belvedere on all social media platforms. You should be able to find me, with probably the exception of Facebook. Other than that, I will definitely be playing some video games at points this weekend. One of which is going to be NASCAR 25. I gotta make it to Cup hopefully before Sunday or by Sunday. But as far as other games that you can definitely join me if you see me playing, Diablo 4 or Division 2 or even Forza Horizon 5. My gamer tag on basically every platform is Fuzzy Belvedere as well. You can find me on Xbox, Steam, PlayStation, even Nintendo, although I don't remember what the social security number is that they gave me for that. But you should be able to find me if you do a search. But other than that, everybody has a happy and safe weekend. Play some games, especially some horror games, because there's a ton of them out there. Especially if you're on the Xbox platform or have Game Pass. There's a lot of good horror games out there this week, and or that just came to the service this week. So definitely check them out, and hope to see you guys here next Friday. Stay in touch.
All right. Thanks for everybody that came out and watched all our rantings today and see what close to 30 years of being together looks like. Appreciate it. But we'll be back Thanksgiving, same time, 6:00. And we put the movie in the chat for you guys and where you can find it if you want to watch it. If not, remember, spoilers. We didn't get too much spoilers with this one, but spoilers next time. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Yeah.